Hi, it's Andy again, and this is going to be another Android tutorial, well, actually a series of Android tutorials. And we're going to take an idea, turn it into an app, and publish it. And we're going to use a lot of Google's new tools, at least new to me, because I haven't really done a whole lot of this in the last 3 years. But we're going to do a project where we're going to take an app idea. We're going to use Kotlin, which is new to me, so we're going to make sure we have this enabled in our new project, and we're going to also use new database tools with Android Jetpack, AndroidX, Room, all this stuff that's going to be bundled in together to make hopefully a pretty quickly developed, fully functioning app based off of an app idea. So the app idea we're going to do is we're going to go into we're going to convert a spreadsheet. So this is a 3D printing spreadsheet that I've gotten into 3D printing in the last couple of years, and what's very helpful is to actually be able to give your customers a realistic quote and something that breaks down the full process, as it helps ensure that you're going to develop a profit, and all things that are involved with printing can be broken down and relate to the customer. So this is a really neat spreadsheet that was made by a YouTuber. His YouTube channel is CNC Kitchen, and we're gonna just pretty much keep the general UI idea, at least from the start, and we'll probably build on it and move some things around later on. But there's 4 tabs here on the bottom, so we're gonna keep those 4 tabs in the Android app, but we're gonna do like a quote tab. This is a printer tab, which has the different list of printers that somebody might own, as well as their stats and a calculated depreciation in currency per hour. So I'll show you how to create this. It's pretty easy to do in Excel, and also pretty easy to do programmatically. Next is a different list of materials. So this allows you to pick different materials that have very varying differences in cost. So like, for example, this ColorFab XTCF20 has some carbon fiber that's, I believe, 20%. That's what the 20 I think is for. And it's significantly more expensive, especially when you go per price per kilogram. It's pretty costly. Actually, this Protopasta HTPLA, I think mostly that's because of importing costs, because this is in euros. This is actually a U.S. company, so being in the U.S., it'd probably be a lot cheaper. I haven't actually priced this out myself, but different things that you can show to your customer, like, hey, this is really expensive material. We're gonna, it's gonna cost more to use. And this general thing, which probably would be better suited into like a settings tab, we'll have it pre-populated at first with some basic values that are still important into calculating an actual quote. So like, for instance, this labor cost of 30 euros per hour, it adds up in here. So like in this prep, it adds up this time of 15 minutes, and that's part of your hourly rate. That's a fourth of an hour. So that would be what, $8.50 ish, or $7.50. Sorry, $7.50. That goes towards the cost of the item just in preparation. Another $7.50 in post processing, and so it's all stuff that's going to be important that we have values in there when we're developing a quote. So let's go into this video, which is going to be creating the project and setting up the basic UI of it. So the name of this app is going to be, hang on one second, I'm going to have to change keyboards because this one is just not working. Okay, so I don't know what's going on with my keyboard, but I've switched to another one. It is Bluetooth, so I hope I don't have the same issue. But let's start with creating a project. So this is going to be called print cost estimator. All right, we're going to make sure we have Kotlin support checked, and we don't need C++ support. We don't have to target anything very new. We'll see if that changes with the Jetpack and all that other stuff, but we're not going to import all that from the get-go. We can leave this with Android 5.0 being the minimum. Actually, we're going to probably target something newer than that anyway. Bottom navigation activity is what we want, since we're going to kind of mimic the Excel spreadsheet here at least. All right, we can change the name of this to print cost estimator activity. You can leave it as main activity. Doesn't really matter at all. All right, so that gives us our new project that's going to be building. And in the meantime, I'm also going to start an emulator, so I have that up and running from the get-go. So we can see what this blank app is going to look like on an actual device once it's finished building and everything. So I've gotten into some 3D printing in the last couple of years, and it's a lot of fun. But in the last 2 months or so, one of my main revenues for avenues for generating revenue has basically kicked all of the hobbyist level, and I don't want to name them, but this has led to the necessity of something like this. Is, now I have to generate a print cost to somebody on the fly. So I have a lot of previous customers, some new customers, and everything, and the venue where I used to get a lot of orders is now gone. So that's why this is a necessity for me, and pretty neat idea that I think a lot of people would benefit. And that's one of the cool things about developing an app. I mean, yeah, you can develop an app for just you, but you're going to be more successful finding a niche that will help a lot more people. And I'm not going to say this is going to be something that's going to be downloaded by millions. Highly unlikely that would happen, but something that more than just a handful of people are going to actually benefit from. So I'm just going to run this app. It has finished building or being created. Not much to it right now. We just have our Kotlin activity here and our one layout resource file. And this is what you get. And in here is just this little text view. So we're going to change this text view to a frame layout. And we're going to make sure that fills up the screen with one big exception. And one of the cool things that I liked about constraint layout, give this an ID. And I'm going to go into this design. We're going to take this, we're going to move this up to there. And what that does is now when we put in a fragment in here, it's only going to occupy that. So the key is that there's going to be recycler views in here. And if we didn't move this bottom piece up to align with the top of our bottom bar, once we generated enough items on our recycler view, that last item would not show. So speaking of recycler views, while we're here, Let's create another one. We'll do recycler view layout. And this one, we can change this to recycler view. Actually, we don't need any of this bottom one since it's going to just take up the entire window. We just need an Android ID. And match paragraph. Okay, so that's all we need for that. Now we're going to generate three fragments that are going to have this recycler view, and a fourth fragment that's going to be a little bit different, and we'll probably move that later on. So let's create a new package where we're going to keep our fragments. So we'll just call this one fragments, and we're going to need 3 of them. So we'll do this Kotlin class. First one is going to be quote list fragment. Okay. Second one is going to be called, let's do printer list fragments. And the last recycler view fragment that we're going to use is going to be materials list fragment. And while we're at it, let's add our fourth fragment. That's going to be our general. All right, so all of these are going to extend frag or be of type fragment. All right, and you know what, let's create a layout that we know will have something in it, since the empty recycler views are going to not populate anything. We'll just call this one general fragment layout, and we'll just put a text view for now to show that it's working. We'll remove this in a little bit. And Android text, we'll just say hello there. So when we get to this general fragment, that's all it's going to say for now. We'll build something that's going to be useful and functional later on. But let's go back into this general fragment, and let's go on create view. And we can just put this up here. Nope, cancel. Inflator dot inflates r dot layout dot general fragment container false. All right, and we need to. Sorry, I'm getting used to a little tiny keyboard. Okay. All right, so now this general fragment, which we haven't implemented yet, is now going to display that hello there. That's actually all it's going to say. And let's copy this code. We'll go back into our other 3 fragments. Sorry. I'm literally working on a really tiny keyboard, and yeah, buttons aren't where I'm used to. So recycler view layout, and we can now copy this one so I don't have to do any more horrendous typing. Alright, and Control V, there we go. And Control V. So as I said, these have a view, but they're not going to show anything in our app right now. But let's. All right, we got rid of this message, so because it no longer exists in the XML, because I replaced it with a frame layout. Let's add a cool little function that's going to replace our fragments for us. So it's going to take fragment, and we'll say, oh, we gotta name it, right? Set fragment. All right. Okay, so we need to get r.id.content frame with our fragments and .commit. All right, so now all we have to do is put in our fragments in here. But we don't want these to say home and dashboard and notifications, and we also need a fourth one. So this is just a resource here in menu that we can just swap out. Let's add a fourth item, so we'll just copy one and we'll paste it. So we'll change these to quotes. We'll change this one to printers. We'll change this one to materials, and this last one to general. But that literally does nothing for the text, since those are referencing some strings here. So let's go into values, strings, and let's add some strings that we're going to now use. So string, we'll do quote, and so you may be wondering, why do I do these? And these are not required. I can totally just type in a text in that empty field and be done with it. But this is something that I could eventually, translate into multiple languages. And if you have a strings resource, you can just easily convert it with, you keep the same references here and you just change the quotes, and then when you're accessing when somebody who has a language set differently, you can set a different set of XML resources and basically have a completely translated app. So having it set up this way from the get-go saves you a lot of trouble in the future if you ever want to localize your app. So that's why I do this like this. All right. String, we have materials. And since it really isn't a whole lot of words, you can actually translate this pretty easily with something like Google Translate. Probably be good enough to do a lot of different languages for something like this. Something that you don't have like full sentences where you have to worry about grammar and all of those stuff. This is something you'd really easily be able to localize if you did it on your own. And the last one is going to be general. Alright, so now we're going to go back to our menu resource here, and we're going to change these strings. So this one is going to be quotes. Should probably change that to quotes with an S at the end. Next one's going to be printers. And next one is going to be materials. And the last one's going to be general. All right, so let's go back into our activity. Now, we didn't change the, yeah, we did. So navigation quotes, navigation printers, materials, and general. We go back here. If we were to, I'm surprised it actually isn't flagging it already, but if we go into here, these will now go away and cause errors when we build this. See, yeah. So we need to copy one of these, and we're going to create another one. So we need navigation quotes, navigation printers, navigation materials, and navigation general. So now we can call that function that I created down here that's going to just replace the fragments whenever we click on an item on the bottom of the app. So we'll just say set fragments, and the first one's going to be quotes list fragments, and next one is going to be set fragments. I'll do printer list fragments. Alright, last one, or next one is set fragment, and this is going to be materials list fragments. And finally, the last one, set fragments general. If I can spell it. Alright, so I talked a lot, we did a lot of setup, but as far as an app, this is not something we would publish. But we can test it and see that it is working on our emulator here over to the side. And here we go. So we got quotes, we got printers, we got materials. Of course, nothing's there because we don't have any recycler view adapters. And then this last one says hello there. And we click off, click back, click off, click back. Beautiful. So what we did is we just set up our basic views that we're going to have. We're going to add some neat little things here coming up. Where since these three list views all imply that we're going to be able to generate new ones, we'll put in a fab icon or floating action bar button, sorry, in the bottom right corner, and we'll create new activities for adding a new quotes, a new printer, or a new material, and we'll build this general tab with set values that we can then interchange throughout the app. All right, so this is the video 1 in this series for the print cost estimator. Let me know what you think, and thank you for watching.